Hey guys, this is Emma. I miss you guys so much, and I hope that you're making the best out of what's going on right now, staying safe inside and just having fun. But so today, since we can't be in the classroom, I'm just going to give you a little demonstration. And since we are talking about the solar system now, I'm going to go over meteorite strikes, and the experiment's going to kind of give you an idea of what they look like on the moon. It's just something easy that you can do at home but still be learning. So the picture to the right is what it's going to look like at the end. And after like a brief overview, I will run you through the experiment and then you can repeat it if you want. So first we're going to go over the differences between meteors, meteoroids, and meteorites. So with a meteor, it's a streak of light that you see in the sky when a small body enters the atmosphere at a high speed and burns up because of the frictional heating from the collision with the atoms and molecules in the atmosphere. So this is going to be in the atmosphere, and then we have a meteoroid. This is a small body that moves in the solar system, and it becomes a meteor if it once it enters the Earth's atmosphere. And then we have a meteorite, which is the solid piece of debris that something such as a comet, asteroid, or a meteoroid that originates in outer space and survived its passage through the atmosphere, so then it reaches the surface of a planet or a moon. So once it reaches the surface, it's then considered a meteorite. And then in the experiment, we're also going to be talking about craters. So a crater is often caused by the impact of a meteorite or other celestial body, and it's a large bowl-shaped cavity in the ground or on the surface of the planet or the moon. So for this experiment, you're just going to need a few materials, and most of them can just be found around your house. So at first, we've got the flour, and the flour is going to represent the fine dust on the surface of the moon that's made from rocks, like it's the rock dust that's on the moon. And then I'm using instant coffee powder, but you can use any sort of powder that's dark, so like hot chocolate powder, any spice that's darker in color. You just want it to be darker than the flour so you can see the contrast when you drop the rocks into it. And then the rocks are going to be used as meteorites, and I just went in my backyard and grabbed a few different rocks. And make sure you grab a few different sizes. So I have like a larger size, I have a really small one, and then I have a few of the medium ones. So because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dropping them into the pan, and then we're going to see if the different sizes of the meteorites make different craters. So the first thing you're going to do is I made sure to lay out some paper towels under my pan, because whenever we drop them in, it might make a little mess. And for safety, really the only thing that you need to worry about is make sure they get your parents' permission before you do this, because you will be using things from around the house and you just want to make sure you don't make a mess. So what we're going to do first is you're going to take the flour and you're just going to spread it across the bottom of the pan. It doesn't have to be very thick, just enough to kind of cover the bottom of the pan. And then I'm just gonna spread it out a little bit just because I wanna make sure it gets all over. I'm gonna use a little more. All right, and then once we have a layer of that, you're just gonna take whatever powder you decided to use as your contrast. And you're gonna sprinkle this. This is, you don't have to do a lot of this, just enough to kind of see it. All right, so this is what your pan is gonna look like after you've placed the flour and the contrast powder in it. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to drop 3 different sizes of rocks or meteorites, and so that way we can see if they may leave a different impact on the surface of the moon. So first I'm going to grab our smallest one. So I'm just gonna hold it just about at my nose and drop it in. All right, now I'm going to grab a medium-sized one. Same thing, same distance, and I'm just gonna drop it somewhere else in the pan. That way we can see the difference. And then I'm gonna grab the largest one. So with this largest one, be careful because this is where some of the powder might fly out of the pan. So I'm gonna drop this over here. Okay, so this is what the different meteorites look like in the pan. And next I'm gonna take them out and show you the craters that they left. Okay, so now that I took the meteorites out, we can see that, so over here is where the smallest one was dropped, and there's a little crater. It didn't get very deep, and the flour didn't spread as far, but you can see that there was still a spread. And then we had the medium one up here in the left-hand corner at the top, and this one was definitely deeper. You can see more flour, and then as we go down to the largest one, you can see that this actually hit the surface of the pan, so it was definitely much larger, and then the flour actually dispersed all over the place, so this definitely had the greater impact. So next I'm going to test if the same size rock makes a difference, like if it makes a bigger crater or smaller, or if it won't make a difference depending on the height that I drop it from. So at first I'm going to take this rock and I'm going to drop it from a very low height, maybe the height of the pan. So go ahead and drop it. All right, now I'm gonna take it out, and now I'm gonna raise it above my head, and make sure that you're over the pan when you do this so it doesn't hit the table or anything, and then I'm gonna drop it into the pan. Okay, so for those last two that I just dropped, we're gonna be focusing on the right side of the pan. You can see at the top is where I dropped it from, not too high, just above the pan, and that crater is not as large, the flour isn't as dispersed. But as you look over here, it kind of looks like a mess now, but when I dropped it from a very high distance, a lot of the flour dispersed everywhere, and it definitely had a bigger impact coming from a higher height. All right, I hope from this demonstration you guys learned about the impact that a meteorite can have on the surface of the moon. So as a summary, we learned that the bigger the meteorite, the bigger impact it's gonna have. It's gonna cause more rock dust to disperse. And then also we learned that if a meteorite comes from a higher distance, it's gonna have a bigger impact compared to one that isn't coming from as far. I hope that you guys learned a lot and you're enjoying your time at home, and I hope to see you soon in the next video.